Mr. Blackpain, I'm a bit sad this morning. Um, I keep thinking that I need to travel outside of the country and potentially look for another base because I still find myself getting a bit emotional about the state of South Africa and the state of South Africans. There is a curse in being woke and conscious and being aware of how the world works, because then you realize that things are not as they seem and the people that you care about are not respected, number one, and they don't respect themselves. South Africa is not a country for South Africans. South Africa is a farm. It is a mine. It is a factory for the United States of America, Canada, the top economies in Europe, places like Switzerland, obviously the United Kingdom, Germany, Spain, France, and some other parts of Europe. For the East, the Middle East as well now, which is really, really rising. The East, South Korea, China, maybe even parts of Vietnam, India. South Africa is not a country for the citizens of South Africa. If anything, the majority of the people in this country are a hindrance and a frustration for the developed economies. I forgot to mention Japan. It's a hindrance and frustrating. Oh, and Australia as well. So whenever the people start rising up, there will be civil wars and skirmishes. And what happens is that the people that rule the world will go and they will ensure that there's instability and some kind of coup, and they will kill the good leaders. And in their place, they will place these leaders that serve their agendas. If you look at what the ANC has become, the ANC is nothing more than a caretaker, a prefect, a police officer for the economies that I spoke about. They ensure that foreign countries and their businesses can come in here and suck out our mineral resources, can suck out the best of our farming produce, can suck out the best of our manufacturing abilities so that they can benefit. And in return, they protect our leadership and they make sure that our political leaders earn really comfortable incomes and live a comfortable life and live in comfortable homes. And then they ensure that they place certain business people, whether local or foreign, to take care of their interests. When you look at someone like Johann Rupert, Nikki Oppenheimer, Christo Wiese, Patrice Motsepe, and other so-called billionaires in this country, they are nothing more than glorified caretakers as well, the business people, to ensure that the best of what is milked out of this country goes to the rest of the world. And then they get given some money here. And then the rest of the masses, you've got the middle class, of course, who are the donkeys and the workhorses to ensure that value is being extracted and exported, and that some of it is kept for them. And in return, you're given a nice 2-bedroom flat. Maybe you get to drive a nice Mercedes-Benz or the latest Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, etc. And you're literally a modern slave that is happy to wear a tie. Instead of a chain around their neck, you wear a tie. And then instead of being whipped, you are whipped through credit. 20-year bond, 6-year car installment, which you have to go and renew at some point. Your kids are in expensive schools, you have to pay medical aid, you have to pay life insurance, and then with some of your money, you're forced to invest in an economy that doesn't serve you, to be fully honest. So that one day you have to hold your breath that after the age of 60, you will retire with a very nice pension. But the age of death in this country is 60, so you don't really have many years left. And then there's the masses, these cockroaches and rats that really frustrate the rest of the world. And if they're not cheap labor, like Vietnam, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, China, if they're not cheap labor, which the bulk of Africans are not anymore, then you just need to keep them at bay somewhere. And you do that through social welfare, free housing, free healthcare, which is constantly injecting you with contraceptives so that later on you become infertile and you can't multiply. COVID vaccines, which seem to have so many side effects, of which infertility is one of them. Strokes, depression, suicide are some of the side effects. Your people are there eating garbage. And today they have become crippled. You have hands, you have arms, you have legs, you have feet, you have a brain. You can wake up in the morning, you have a body, but you can't grow your own food. You can't fix your own problems. You can't build your own house. You can't do basic plumbing, electrical work. You can't even pick up a weapon. You don't know how to manufacture weapons to defend yourselves. You have become useless. You live for a 350 Rand grant. And your children live for their child 490 Rand grant. And then they have to go to useless schools which teach them nothing Nothing practical. It's wasting 12 years of garbage and another 4, 5, 6 years in tertiary learning nothing functional. Not how to defend your family and manufacture weapons, not how to grow your own food and make the land productive, not how to do your own construction and building, not how to manufacture your own furniture, your own electrical appliances, your own laptops and cars and the like. Nothing functional. Not even understanding global politics. Countries like America, which pump through the media propaganda to force us to align with them, while they have over 600 military bases in so many different countries around the world, and they are bombing Sudan, and they're bombing Somalia, and they're bombing Iraq, and they're bombing Afghanistan. And then when Russia has a squabble with Ukraine over land, America wants us to align with them. And then you have a chunk of especially white privileged people wanting us to align with America. Those people don't care about us. We might have their McDonald's and KFC and Nikes. They don't care about us. Maybe even you as a rich white person in this country, you are being fed propaganda by, like I said, the caretaker rich people in this country to say align with these people. Meanwhile, the ANC, who are also just a proxy for other global interests, they're like, no, we will ensure we remain diplomatic with Russia. None of these people care about the masses. What is Russia going to do for a poor black child living in a 4-room or in a shack? What is America going to do for a poor black child living in a 4-room house or a shack? Is Russia going to ensure that they send programs to educate the poor children to grow their own food? They won't, because their agenda is not to uplift South Africa. And the agenda for the ANC, the EFF, the DA, and other political parties is not to uplift the masses of South Africa. It's to be like, make sure that your people behave so that we can keep milking your country. Because that's all it's good for. It's a mine, it's a factory, it's a farm for us. And the rest of us just bump into this propaganda and we fight. Is BRICS better than the G7, G8? Should we go with Russia? Should we go? No one cares. Nobody cares. So these things make me sad and they make me want to leave the country and disappear for a while, and especially the poor black masses, because the poor black masses never take accountability. When they're not angry at apartheid, the apartheid government and white Afrikaners, when they're not angry at Oranje and AfriForum, then they're blaming Zimbabweans. Then they're blaming people from Mozambique and Malawi. If it's not people from Lesotho as well. If it's not that, then they're blaming the Pakistanis, the Somalians, the Ethiopians. Then they're blaming the Nigerians. At no point do they blame themselves. At no point does a poor black South African say, I am poor because of me. Why am I poor? Why am I struggling? Why am I oppressed? Because of me. Because I vote for the ANC government, which does not prioritize uplifting and empowering me. Because I take my hard-earned money or my social grant money and I go and I spend it at a Pakistani spaza shop. I take my money and I go and drown my sorrows and misery in booze. I take my money and I buy nyaupe or weed or some other drug. I refuse to work with my family. I refuse to bring my family together and to build businesses like the Indian Muslims in this country. I refuse to build businesses like the white Jewish people in this country. I refuse. I want to go and work and beg to work for a white man, for an Indian man out there. I don't want to work for other black people. I do not want to buy from other black people. The reason I'm poor and oppressed and exploited is because of me. It is my fault. The poor black masses will never agree to that. They will blame everyone else but themselves. We've got load shedding. You poor black person, your electricity is illegally connected. You live in Hammanskraal, where people were cheering for Cyril Ramaphosa. After 21 people died from cholera because of lack of maintenance by the ANC and DA in Tshwane. You will keep voting for those people and then wonder why your family members are dying. You are struggling to fall pregnant and have kids, but you're the one that's been injecting yourself with contraceptives, using the loop, taking pills you don't understand, and then you wonder, why am I struggling to fall pregnant? It is your fault. You are too scared to actually rise up and ask the right questions. And when people like myself ask these questions, you watch, you might like, you might comment, but you're not going to change anything else about your life. You're still going to wake up every day and go dust off your CV and go and beg the same people for a job, instead of waking up and saying, let me look at my siblings, let me look at my cousins, let me look at my uncles and aunts, and let me aggressively bring them together and say, guys, we can't keep living like this. We are not even second-class citizens in this country. We are the scum. And we are treated like scum. We are being fed like a beggar on the side so that we can stay at bay. We do not have weapons. We're not allowed to have weapons. We're not allowed to gather together and raise our voices. We're not allowed to even homeschool our children. It is a serious mess. It is a serious mess, and it breaks my heart. And I realize I still have that poverty conditioning where when I see a black person, I see my mom, I see my uncle, I see my gran. Those are not my people. They don't care about me. If I die tomorrow, they will not help my family. And yet at the same time, if they see me becoming part of the ANC and earning tenders and sitting on boards under BEE and becoming rich, they're going to be the first people to call me sellouts. But then right after that, whoever I'm affiliated with, they will come and support. It's the greatest form of hypocrisy and cognitive dissonance. This idea that we hate white people, but let's go and buy from their businesses. We hate white people, but they must please give us jobs. We love black people, but we won't buy from them. We love black people, but we don't want to work with them or work for them. It's heartbreaking. And look, I'm using black obviously as a symbol for the poor masses of this country. There are many poor white people in this country. There are most colored people are poor in this country. There are poor Indian people in this country. And when I say white, of course, it's a symbol for the rich elite, including the Cyrils, the Patrices, because a big chunk of white people are middle class, a big chunk. But like I said, they are poor white people. But because of the racial politics in this country and their agendas, even the poorest and the middle class white people will side with rich white people without realizing. Even upmarket rich black people, some of them, will side with a black agenda, which is oppressing the rest of their family members. We've got hospitals that are falling apart, that our extended family members are meant to be going to, and clinics. Our extended family members are sending their children to useless schools, where they're being fed and being taught, they're being fed real food and they're being fed garbage in terms of what's in their brains. And very few of us are willing to rise up and tell our people to stand up and find dignity and to say, we don't want aid. Don't aid us. See us as people. We're willing to work with you and trade with you. But if you don't want to respect us, go away. The ANC, the EFF are not going to be representing our interests. We're not interested. If the DA is going to be telling us to side with America, no thanks, bro. We don't care. We want you to fix the Cape Flats and the townships in the Western Cape. Otherwise, leave us alone. And again, this is why I admire Oranje so much, because it's people that said, we will, on our own, with our own agenda and our own mandate, we will enclose our space, and we don't want anyone to tell us anything. Don't come with your ANC, EFF, DA, IFP, Action, SA, PA nonsense. We will do for self. We don't need you. We don't need you. I think maybe the solution is just, I found myself born in a flock of sheep. I found myself born in a group of buck. Meanwhile, I was actually a lion cub. And over the years, spending time with so many of these people, I didn't understand that I'm meant to be a predator. I'm meant to actually eat the sheep and the buck. They are my food. And when I see other people out there eating these people, it breaks my heart, because I'm like, but these are my people. It's like, they're not. You are enlightened. You are bigger than them. You are better than them. You are superior. You should dominate them. If anything, they are begging you to eat them. They're like, Penal, why don't you run for president? Penal, why don't you set up a business? We want to give you our money. We want to give you our labor. We want to give you our vote. And I'm still saying, no, but you guys can rise up and be great. The one thing I like and I respect about the animal kingdom is that it's not a lie. Lions do not lie to the buck, and they do not lie to other prey and say, we are your friends, vote for us, buy from us. It's pretty clear that as a lion, as a shark, as an eagle, we are predators. In the human animal kingdom, it is the politicians, it is the big business people that pretend to be your friends. Meanwhile, they're the ones that eat you. And those of us who are trying to awaken you and liberate you, we are seen as the enemy. We're not taking your money. We're not exploiting your labor. We are trying to get you to rise, but we're the bad people, making noise and what. But you carry on buying from the same businesses that refuse to invest in your communities. You keep voting for politicians that refuse to live with you, that don't see you, that actually see you as filth and dirt. And you see nothing wrong with that. And maybe I should go to therapy and get a therapist or find a group of people who are going to tell me and get me to understand, you are a lion, you're a wolf, you're a shark. Your job is not to uplift and empower. Your job is to eat these people. And your job is to be a better predator than others. To actually want the fattest sheep to want to be eaten by you. They must be proud that they work for your big company and you exploit them. They must be proud that they buy from you. They must wear your brand and be proud of it. We saw Spootla wearing Michael Kors. What the fuck does Michael Kors do for South Africa? We see people admiring China, where there was exploitation in sweat factories, sweat shops. We see people wanting to wear Italian brands. They worship the English Premier League. That's England, bro. That's the British monarchy that exploited and colonized your country. They want to work for Investec, Rand Merchant Bank. They want to align with certain businesses. And you're like, bro, these are all the people you claim to hate. And get Penal to understand that, bro, your purpose in life is to actually become a predator and to eat these people. And not only to eat them, but to get them to love the fact that you're the one that's eating them. I give my money to Old Mutual. I am there with Momentum and Outsurance. I am so happy that I'm covered by. I bank with Penal Bank. They want you to lead them. They want you to be their dictator. They want you to be their Hitler, their Mugabe, their King Leopold, their Xi Jinping, their Mao. They want you to be their Putin. And you're sleeping on the job, bro. They are begging. Please, Penal, please own us. Please be our father, be our king, be our chief, be our pastor, be our prophet. We want you to lead us. And you're not getting it because you think you're one of us. You're not. We are your food. You are meant to be crushing all the other leadership structures and getting people to worship you. Like they worship Elon Musk, like they worship Mark Zuckerberg, like they worship Jeff Bezos, like they worship Jack Ma. They want to worship you. Lead them. Tell them, I will be your Prophet Bushiri. I will be your Lichanyane. I will be your Isaiah Shembe. I will be your Jesus Christ, your Prophet Muhammad. I will be your Rothschild. I will be your Rockefeller. I will be your Klaus Schwab. I will be your God. Be their God and lead them. Otherwise, leave them alone because they are happy to be eaten by the other predators. And you were born to be a predator in the wrong place. But maybe it was in the right place so that you can understand their psychology, so that it becomes so much easier to dominate them. And you're sleeping on the job. Ipen elimnyama, the sword pen, pen you all the black pen.